Let's be honest, guys. It is an absolute train wreck in the swamp as Sunbelt Billy lost another big one this past Saturday, 18-16 at home against USF. And look, Alex Golesh is a great coach. USF, they seem to be a really good team this year. But if you're Florida and you lose this in week 2 at home when you have the rest of your schedule, which is one of the hardest in the SEC, that just cannot happen. So on today's show, we are going to talk about if it's time to fire Billy Napier after another really, really rough start to yet another season at Florida. It is his 4th season with the Florida Gators. 6-7, 5-7, 8-5. Those are his records so far in a 1-1 start in 2025. A year that they knew, you know what, this is going to be a tough road because of all the SEC games, and they had to win those games at home against opponents like USF. Now it just makes the rest of their schedule look even harder. And I want you guys to let me know. I want to gauge your thoughts. Do you think Billy Napier should be fired? If you do, simple way to let me know. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, like today's video, and we'll get started with our top 10 Billy Napier replacements. Starting in at number 10, we'll go 10 down to 1, so make sure you stick around to see who I got at number 1. Let's talk about Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, if you know the name Todd Monken, and if you're an SEC football fan, you most likely know that name because, of course, he won a couple national championships with the Georgia Bulldog, where he was their offensive coordinator from 2020 to 2022. And so far, since he's been with the Baltimore Ravens as their offensive coordinator since 2023, he has absolutely transcended Lamar Jackson as a passer of the football. Right? Lamar's an elite talent. Todd Monken just upped his game even more. He's been getting head coach looks by the National Football League. He's been back-to-back off seasons where he's had 2 or more interviews with open, spots with other NFL teams. He has yet to be hired, though. Could he take the step back down to college football, take over the head coaching position at Florida if they're impressed with what he's done with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? The thing about Todd Monken, though, he is 59 years old. He'll be 60 next February. So by the time he's kicking off his first season as a Florida Gators head coach, he could be the age of 60. And I don't know how that would go with the whole recruiting aspect of everything and just starting your first ever head coach in the Power 5 or Power 4 at that age. Number 9, this one is a very, very interesting one. Let's talk about Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden was quoted as saying just a couple days ago, he'd love to coach, and he'd love to coach in the SEC specifically. And Florida just might be the job for him. You think about what he can do as a recruiter. You think about how much he draws people in. And there's a couple of vacancies you can think could be open next season in the SEC. Arkansas is one of them. Florida might be one of them as well. And I'll tell you this, if I'm a head coach, I see a lot more potential in Florida than I do Arkansas. Jon Gruden's a very, very interesting name, and he's a guy that I think I would at least give a call if you're looking to replace Billy Napier. Be honest with me. Do you think Jon Gruden will ever be a head coach again, or do you think he's enjoying his gig too much with Barstool? You let me know by giving me a yes or no in the comment section down below. Now, we might be a couple of years early with this next one, but I think we got to at least discuss Ben Arbuckle at Oklahoma. He is their current offensive coordinator, but came along with that quarterback, Jon Napier, from Washington State to Oklahoma. This guy is incredibly impressive. He's one of the new, young, up-and-coming offensive coordinators in the game, and it's easy to see why. He's been turning this Oklahoma offense into something I think we're all used to seeing an Oklahoma offense being. And it's the exact opposite of what it's been the last couple of years, and last year especially. Okay, Ben Arbuckle is doing a lot of really great things with a lot of really talented players. He's brought the absolute best out of Jon Napier, a guy who nobody knew his name 365 days ago. Ben Arbuckle might be the next great coaching hire in this game. Kenny Dillingham at number 7. Now, that name might have lost a little bit of shine since the road loss to Mississippi State this past Saturday night. But this is still a guy who won the Big 12 last season with that roster at Arizona State that was good, but they were not near as good as a couple of those other teams that they went against in that conference. And Dillingham says he doesn't want to leave the Sun Devils. He's preached that over the last offseason. Well, let's be real. Money talks, and the opportunity to coach in the SEC talks as well. And the opportunity to coach at one of the top SEC programs. It's not like there's a job opening at Vanderbilt, right? It's not like we're talking about a possible job opening at Arkansas. No offense to all the Hog fans out there. Or South Carolina. Or Mizzou. No. This is Florida. And this is a program that coaches want to coach for because they see the potential in it. Drop a name for me. I've given you 5 already. Who do you think will be the Gators' next head coach if there is one? Of course, that's a big if. You let me know in the comment section down below. Number 6 on our Billy Napier replacements. This is where we find yet another SEC coach in Shane Beamer. What Shane Beamer is doing at South Carolina is really impressive. Now, they've got a long way to go throughout this season. They're off to a really good start. Won that game against Virginia Tech in pretty dominant fashion. Won this last week against, the School of the Deaf and the Blind. But still, South Carolina was mostly thought as an afterthought over the past couple of decades of SEC football, and Shane Beamer's making them a top contender, okay? He has one of the best quarterbacks in the country on that roster. He recruited him to there. Things this guy is doing is really, really unheard of in Columbia, and that could catch the attention of the Florida Gators, and they say, if he's doing that in South Carolina, imagine what he could be doing in Gainesville. Imagine what you guys can be doing tonight, and that is download the Prize Picks app, using code CLNS. Get yourself $50 in lineups when you just play 5, because we got some Monday Night Football tonight. And I know watching football is fun, but it's a whole lot more fun if you can watch football and win some money as well. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. And look, you and I, we make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You could double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And like I said, we got some Monday Night Football tonight, and I like the more on Justin Jefferson for half a receiving touchdown. I like the less on Caleb Williams going against a Brian Flores coach defense. I know he's got Ben Johnson on his side now, but still, give me the less than 218.5 passing yards. Go ahead and give me the more on Will Reichard, 1.5 field goals made. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Now, I know we mentioned recruiting when we talked about Shane Beamer. And if we're going to talk recruiting, we got to talk about Deion Sanders. That's who I have as number 5 on my possible Billy Napier replacements. Now, would Deion ever coach for Florida after graduating from Florida State? I don't know. Kind of the same goes with Kenny Dillingham, right? Money talks. Being an SEC football coach, that talks as well. But right now, with Shador gone, Shiloh gone, Travis gone, nothing's really keeping him in Colorado. And I know he can say all he wants, but do we really feel like his end game, his end goal is to be the head coach at Colorado? Because this guy is already one of the best recruiters in the game. Deion Sanders, the second he got hired to be at Colorado, he immediately had the same level of recruiting aura around him as a Nick Saban or Kirby Smart. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but you got to get into the mind of a high school football player for a second. Okay? How does it feel when you get a text or you get a phone call from Deion Sanders? That means something. That's something you want to tell people about. That's something that might draw you to a certain program. Okay, I get that might sound ridiculous, but unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, maybe not even unfortunately, but that's just the flat-out truth. That's how this thing works. And if you want a guy who can get elite talent in Florida, Coach Deion can be that guy. You just got to surround him with the right coaches to kind of help him finish the job from a sideline standpoint. What's the percent chance you think Deion leaves Colorado? Scale up for me 1 to 100 in the comment section down below. 100% means you think he's out of there at some point in the next couple of years. 1 means you don't think so at all. Let me know in the comment section. Number 4, let's talk about Rhett Lashlee. Now, a little bit like Kenny Dillingham, maybe a little bit less shine on this guy after the Saturday loss to Baylor at home. But still, Rhett Lashlee is an up-and-comer. He's a riser in the college football ranks. He was the offensive coordinator in 2017 at UConn. Then he was the OC at SMU from 2018 to 2019. He then went down south to Miami to be their offensive coordinator, and then he was hired back as SMU as their head coach in 2022. And he took SMU to the playoffs last year. Let me say that again. He took SMU to the playoffs last year. That's a really, really impressive thing to do. I don't care what conference they play in, okay? They could play in the Mountain West for all I care for. If you get a team like that into the into the 12-team college football playoff, that speaks enough about yourself. Let's go to the NFL again with this one, okay? Our last NFL guy we're going to talk about. Let's talk about Joe Brady. Because I don't know if you guys caught Sunday Night Football last night, and I get it. He's got an elite talent with Josh Allen, but still, what that offense is able to do is something special. Because the Buffalo Bills don't have a ton of wide receiver talent. They got some good ones. They don't have really any great ones. And they're still able to put up points with the best of 41 of them last night. He was the pass game coordinator at LSU in 2019. That's when he made his name with that Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow team. Then he was the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers with Matt Rule from 2020 to 2021, and he's been in Buffalo since 2022. I've got a feeling that this guy's going to be getting head coach looks over the offseason from the National Football League. So if Florida is serious about getting him in Gainesville, they're going to have to make him a pretty big offer, and they're probably going to have to do it relatively quickly after that season's over, okay? If you want Joe Brady, that's how you're going to have to go about it. Number 2, I would be remiss if I did not talk about Alex Golesh. You got to talk about the guy who just beat you on your home turf, the USF head coach. He was a Tennessee offensive coordinator. He's pretty much followed Josh Heupel around from career stop to career stop. And I'll tell you this, not only has he done a wonderful job with USF, which is obvious this year as they absolutely destroy Boise State, and then they beat Florida at home, but I think you're seeing a pretty telling sign over the last couple of years. We've seen a little bit of the dip in Tennessee's offense. I think it goes to show you how important Alex Golesh was to their success in 2022. This guy is an unbelievable play caller. He's a great offensive mind. He's a great recruiter as well. You don't think people were coming after Byron Brown in the portal over the offseason? He kept that guy in USF because they believe they're building something there. And number 1, Mr. Lane Kiffin. I get it. He's at Ole Miss right now. He's been at Ole Miss since 2020. That's 5 years for him. But Ole Miss, I just feel like their ceiling is almost capped in a sense. It might be crazy to say that, and there might be some Ole Miss fans watching this right now, and they're pissed off at me for saying that. I don't care, frankly. I think it's the truth. If you weren't able to get it done last year with the amount of talent you had on that roster, it's going to be hard to get it done in that team. Now, Kiffin's career has been very, very up and down. Head coach at Tennessee in 2009, 1 year. Then he left to USC, where he's there for 2010 to 2013. Got a little bit of a revival in Alabama from 2014 to 16. Then got a job again as a head coach at Florida Atlantic. And then he's been at Ole Miss, like I said, for the last 5 seasons. Lane Kiffin, I just can't wrap my head around the fact that he's going to be staying at Ole Miss for the rest of his career. I don't think that's happening. And the move from Ole Miss to Florida, it's not a lateral move at all. It's a step up. I can promise you that. This guy's special. Again, he's a great offensive mind. He's a great recruiter. He's great in the transfer portal. Guys want to play for Lane Kiffin. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that big red sub button. We try to bring you weekly college football coverage right here on College Football Now. And also, make sure you give me a follow on X. I put my Twitter account in the comment section down below.